Yeah. You got a great beach trail where yeah, yeah. So he's in the morning. He was looking like yeah, you guys just invite us. Yeah, I said fix it. So I'm sure you guys either one. Just yeah. So that's very yeah, no, you're right. You really think yeah. No, I'm not like that's what you think. Yeah. What the hell was that? See my text messages. Check your text messages. It's just. Yeah, I think so. I think mine. Sorry. Just give me a heads up.
Oh, yeah, that was nice. Stop that. How many minutes do we have?
Less than
50 seconds.
Counting, right?
Yes.
You know. Yeah. Very exciting. Stuck in that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but it's like it's a double layer. Yes.
It's nice.
It'd be nice if the time would be up on there.
Yeah.
You have 10 seconds.
right there in the corner.
Just my supervision don't work.
Oh, I see where it is. Yes.
There you go, there's 7:30.
Ready? Good evening. I'd like to call the Telford Borough Council meeting for December to order. We will have the invitation by Robert Jacobus and the pledge of allegiance to follow. Please stand.
Father God, as we come to the close of a political year, a end of a legislative session, we thank you so much that we've had a relatively safe year. Our police, fire, and all of our services have come out of it healthy and well. We ask you now, Lord, as you go into the next year, that you bless the folks that are coming into office with wisdom, give them personal courage to do the right thing, and help them have a good, successful year. We ask that you do that for us tonight, that we look at all the things that we're supposed to do, have the courage to act in the right every step of the way. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The roll call, Mayor Terry Gurenzi.
Yeah.
Council President Lloyd Weiss, Council President Carolyn Crabhamel, Vice President. Here. Council Member Catherine Farina. Here. Council Member Robert Jacobus.
Here.
Council Member Robert Sparks.
Here.
Council Member John Taylor.
Here.
And Council Member Meredith Torres. Here. Will anyone be audio or video recording and or live streaming our meeting tonight?
Yes, ma'am, I will.
The Oldenburger. Okay, any citizens' comments on any agenda items? On any? Your name and address, please. Just the agenda items.
My name is Christina Musselman. My husband David is with me here tonight. We live at 11 South Hamilton Street. I've been a Telford resident since 1976, and we have been residents of the Telford Borough since 1986. We've been tenants, we've been landlords, and we're affirming homeowners. We are here tonight to voice our positions of implementation of rental inspections by the borough. It has been cited that there are approximately 300 rental units in the borough. We feel that responsible landlords will be required to have inspections because of few undesirable landlords. Providing rental properties is a business. Within each type of business, whether it's property rental, public service, dining, manufacturing, etc., safety standards were put into place, and they are monitored by agencies and organizations just such as OSHA, the USDA, and the Department of Health. We don't see Telford Borough to these things. We don't see them going to Vinton. They never came into the town. They don't go to the same piece. So why are they going to the business of rentals? In the case of a rental unit, and I speak from experience, it is the landlord's responsibility to ensure that all aspects on both the landlord and tenant side are adhered to accordingly by the defined lease. It is also the responsibility of the landlord's insurance company to inspect the property for safety issues before insuring that property. And we know this firsthand because we had to make upgrades and changes before we could get insurance on a property. With this being said, and all the things such as community standards, safe housing, and the preservation of property value apply in a parallel manner to any resident in Telford who owns a home. It is the plan to make mandatory inspections on each. My question is it the plan in future to make inspections required from every residence? I can guarantee that there are homes in Telford that are not going to pass any inspection. In reference to tenants being afraid of losing their rental because they complained or reached out to the borough, would they want to rent from the responsible landlord? I would. In reference to the burden of emergency services, does the fire company and ambulance have detailed information on each and every residence in Telford? How many people live in this house? Their children? Are there people visiting? I mean, they don't have that information, right? And I would like to know what public costs will be reduced by those inspections. What are we paying now? What are those costs? And in closing, we ask that there might be a better solution to get the result that everybody in Telford is aiming for, a nice community. Perhaps we could implement fines to those landlords that are not responsible, but don't punish the responsible ones. And lastly, the situation should arise, it could be anything, but the response is, oh, but the borough passed our inspection. Doesn't that make the borough vulnerable to lawsuits? Well, I thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Even Chris, please.
I'm Lauren Gaines, Western Lab, and I'm here to ask the Borough Council to please vote yes in favor of these new rental inspections. I know that within just the past 6 Borough Council meetings that we've all attended, we have learned of people living in garages, broken windows in the first floor units with children in them, birds living in dryer vents and building nests that block the outflow of the air. We've learned about trees growing in gutters. We've learned about units that have cockroaches and mites, units that don't have fire entrances or have them blocked by negligent landlords. We've learned that most of them are not registered with the borough. Most of them don't have proper signage for a fire permit to even find the units. And that's just from the past 6 borough meetings that this has all come up at some point in time. From going door to door for the past several months and talking to residents, I've spoken to renters that have not had consistent heating in their homes because the landlords don't want to pay for the oiler to fill it up, or they've just ghosted the tenants. And the tenants are in a lease that they can't break and recoup their money off if they were to leave. And there is the fear that their landlords might spite them back if they do speak to the borough. But that fear is alleviated if it's the borough finding the issues. My parents are landlords. I consider them to be pretty decent ones. I've also rented from slumlords. I fully understand both sides of the argument, but having rental inspections realistically only takes an hour or 2 hours of our landlord's time for the entire year. If you're a homeowner who's fired on a rental unit, you spend 2 hours going to the borough, doing the paperwork, dealing with the inspection, and that's it. But for the tenants that don't have those inspections getting done and have to live with cockroaches, no fire exits, mold, mushroom spraying their units, that happened to me back over in Satterton. It sucks. And this is just one of the small things we should be doing to make our borough better. So thank you, and please vote yes.
Thank you. Anyone else? On the agenda items?
I do, but my comments are not loading because we're connected, but,
Look at these minutes.
I will send, well, first I want to start with, just something I would like to know, for the Sunshine Act purposes, I believe, Brian, that falls under you. For the social media pages, please post, the meeting notices on there as well. As well as maybe link the live stream and agenda going forward. That said, I do support the, as a renter, specifically, I support the, upcoming ordinance, regarding rental properties. I have some concerns, which I will forward to the borough to maybe look into later on, that I did see covered under the current ordinance, but maybe could be addressed later on. My property is a HUD unit, so yes, we got the government inspection from the feds, we get the state inspections, we get the bank inspections, and then we get the private company inspections. And honestly, there's about 75% of the issues that are found in those inspections are never dealt with and never addressed. And most of them, I believe, are very serious code violations within borough ordinances themselves. So I hope that this will help hold the slumlords, if you will, and the big corporate landlords accountable going forward. So thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? Any agenda items? The name and address, please.
Yes. My name is William Ashley. I reside at 314 Northview Avenue in Telford, Pennsylvania. I have a handout. You know, the last time I had emailed some items, things didn't work out, so let's do this the old fashioned way. Right? As they say, same time, the old way. This is just an item for your consideration, considering tonight's. Oh, Chief, will you careful? Please. Just for your consideration, right? I know this has been discussed. Regrettably, I've been indisposed and have not been able to regularly attend as I was did. 3 items I'd like to touch. The last bullet point under item number. Let's see, that's 13. Ironically, item 13 under the borough staff reports, subpart A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th bullet. Specifically, the first item is the agenda. I printed this agenda from the website at 10 minutes after 1 o'clock this afternoon. Is this the agenda as to be presented tonight? It's a yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. And has the council and mayor had the opportunity to review this, make sure it's all correct? Okay, good. I don't want to speak out of turn. That's why I just want to make sure I have the correct copy. All right. So the first item is a point of clarification, and it's actually rather excellent that Mr. Carroll is here tonight. I see the intention to change the name of the Telford Borough Authority to, this is the Telford Regional Authority. And as a question of this change, will the mix of the board membership be changing to reflect the regional aspect of the name and the authority itself? Because at this point, is anyone familiar with how many members of the board reside within Telford Borough? How many members do not reside within Telford Borough? And that the fact, at least, please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Harrow, that the Telford Borough Authority covers parts of Hilltown, right? We had the folks from Rocco's here a couple of years ago, right? Because Telford Borough Authority they had to look up to. Parts of West Rock Hill, parts of Franconia, and the entirety of Telford Borough, right? Is that correct, sir?
Yes, I'm correct, yes.
Okay, very good. So the question, at least to the best of my knowledge,
Your point is what?
the point is the makeup of the,
That question is for authority. all right?
These,
So you should be addressing the authority.
these folks are voting on this tonight to change this. These folks are voting to change this.
They're not voting to change.
So I'd like to, Mr. Ashley, go through this, please.
So the reason I bring it to your attention is that the members of the Telford Borough Authority who are appointed by Telford Borough serve at your pleasure. They don't serve at the pleasure of Hilltown Township. They don't serve at the pleasure of West Rock Hill. They don't serve at the pleasure of Franklin Township, other than Mr. Nuss. So I'm not sure if you're able to answer
This
this.
was their way on this because he is misstated. He doesn't understand how an authority is put together. And that it's a central, and that it's a, you know, it is its own entity. Can you just give them a?
It is also that, and it is its own entity that does not, that works independently from the borough. I think the name change doesn't necessarily talk to the content of the actual ordinance that's being passed.
Okay.
But that's what I'm informed on.
So to summarize then, there's no material change. This is essentially a cosmetic or a marketing change.
Not within the ordinance.
Okay. Well, I'm specifically to the name of the organization.
The name can be voted on, depending upon how they.
And regional, even though there are not members of, there are no voting members of this board that are part of this authority.
3 minutes.
Well, the authority itself is separate.
Yes, I understand it is separate. The Telford members vote for the Telford, these folks vote for those folks. But who do the people in Hilltown vote for? Who do the people in West Rock Hill vote for?
Bill, can you just ask us, what is your point?
It's just my point, the makeup of the board with the name of regional authority. That is my point.
We'll
The service
be talking
committee
about this
section.
later on in our meeting here today. And I see on here you have some other things.
Yes, well, and that's just for your consideration. This is the other item, right? This is the third point under there. Under the, I see that there's a change being proposed to transfer responsibility for Telford Borough stormwater, the MS4 requirements for fulfillment from Telford Borough to Telford Borough or Telford Regional Authority, right? Am I
That's
understanding?
all coming up in our meeting later on. Please wait.
Well, but this is the time right now for the citizen comment.
Wait, you're past your 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, I'll take that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, hearing nothing, there will be an executive session for legal matters after our meeting. Confirmed appointments or presentations, and
Do you expect a vote after executive session?
possibility, yes.
Then
We'll see.
okay.
I don't know if we have any confirmed appointments or anything that might, no, there's nothing for that. Minutes of our previous meeting, with the motion to enter that into record, were there any corrections to that? If not, I'll entertain a motion and second.
I'll make the motion to accept minutes.
Okay, first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, thank you. Treasurer's report, that was included in your packet. So if there's any questions, we can talk to probably Mr. Foster, and he can answer that if there's any questions. Anybody?
No questions?
Okay. Police Department report, Chief Randy Floyd.
Yes, good evening. You'll notice that there's no written report as of tonight. My intention was to, I just returned from vacation today. So I did not have a report prepared ahead of time. I intended to do it today. But unfortunately on Friday, I got frostbite on 4 of my fingers and I can't type. So I will include it for, along with next month's meeting, but I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone might have. There is nothing of major significance that can't wait to be supported.
Any questions for Chief Floyd? Council?
So you had your truck, congratulations.
Oh, yes, we did. I wanted to mention that we did finally get our truck back from the outfitter. It's out in the parking lot. If you get a chance to look at it, they did a very nice job. There's one or two, very minor things that have to be taken care of yet, one with the county. And, but then we have to purchase a radio. The officers that are using that vehicle are using their portable radios, which are adequate, but it should have a stationary radio. But other than that, everything's good.
When, I took a tag for your tree out at the library, and I understand all the 30 tags were taken by residents.
Yes,
Very good.
yes. And Officer Robbins has done a very good job with that, and we hope to grow that program. And very fortunate that, to see the generosity of the community and the coordination with the school district and other people involved.
Excellent. Okay, moving on then, anything else? The mayor's report, Mr. Grassi.
Thank you. I've had the trucks along with the antique tags on.
Yeah.
There's my meetings, just busy. And I was in the parade on Saturday and Saturday, the Christmas parade, and that was very nice. Got to talk with Mayor Dan, and it's been an interesting month, and we'll get busier month. As we get
Yeah.
conditions.
Everything's coming up.
You got the tree lighting coming up. We've got the fire company takes sand up around the town and on coverage area on the 20th. So we'll be taking the sand around about 2:00 we're starting. And we are going to be part of working with Officer Robbins. Possibly delivering some of the packages and so forth. So it's a busy time of year.
Very good. Any questions for the mayor? Very nice, we'll move on. Fire department report, Mr. Sparks.
Report is attached in the packet. There are 42 calls for the month. Again, another busy month. Any questions?
Hearing none? Yes, you're good. The EMS report was in your packet. So you got a chance to look at that. The library report, Ms. Kane.
The library continues a full slate of activities as shown in the report in the packet. Currently, the most popular areas of interest via website traffic are the museum passes, ebooks, and the library of things. So if you're still looking to make that fun, okay, good attention. We are certainly grateful for your support and your part in providing this essential service to our community. January 17 is the next mini golf in the library. And tickets are on sale for eat, drink, read. The Animal Wine tasting Saturday, February 7th in the library, aka come here with me and Michael Elementary School. And so our next library board of trustees meeting will be Thursday, January 15, 2020. Seems but
Any questions for Ms. Kane?
I actually did have, so I noticed in the packet this time around, it was a much more, not that you guys don't provide a lot of information, but it wasn't just a kind of just
information.
Yeah, I found it really insightful, just kind of understanding some of the more nuanced, components exactly of the library, the challenges that you guys face, the areas that you excel, things like that. I'm not sure if it's the intent to maybe provide this level of detail, maybe not every month. I'm sure that would get to be a lot, but maybe on a quarterly basis. I know it got some feedback from the community as well, so definitely appreciate sort of, again, being able to kind of see what you guys are doing. Was amazing. Yeah.
I'm glad we take that back to Tracy. I think it's a great idea.
And thank her for hosting that gift giving trade.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Any opportunity to do those relationships is great.
Very good. Okay, moving on, there are our staff reports, the secretary's report, Manager Brian Foster.
Before we start on the any motions that have to take place here. I just want to say there was a correction to the ordinance that was posted on the website. The ordinance for the tax increase said that the general fund would be 7.78, and the fire tax would be 0.35.
Right.
The general fund will be 7.43. That was advertised that way, so it was advertised correctly. And it was also put into the law library correctly. It just, there was a couple of different, unfortunately, a couple of different ordinances that had gone around. Yeah, I happened to put the wrong one in there. So we did make that correction. The correct ordinance, there is a copy out here if anybody needs it, and the copy has been put onto the website too. So if you want to see it there, it's there also. So that's what I wanted to say prior to adopting the 2026 budget.
We need a motion to adopt that.
Yeah, we,
Motion and a second to adopt the 2026 budget.
I'll make the motion to adopt the 2026 general fund budget.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Brian, thank you for all of your work with that. I know I've told you, but I've received a lot of feedback just from individuals within the community who appreciated that breakdown that you put together, the slides that you put together to really show where the funds go, what the breakout is, what is the borough versus the school district versus the county, what this money will go towards, where we get, sort of funds in. So just that level of transparency, I've heard a lot of appreciation within the community. So thank you.
thank you. And real quick before we get there, any comments that you might want to be made. If you have questions, and this goes for anybody here and anybody, watching on the live stream, my email is manager@telfordborough.org. I answer your emails. When it's put on the website, it's corrected now, so I do get it. But I do answer the emails. And if you have questions about the budget or anything, I've had people email me. I've had people come in and meet with me. I have no issues with meeting with anybody. This is your borough. I'm here to try and provide information for these 7 elected officials so they can make informed decisions. And if you have information that you want me to pass on to them, that's why I'm here. So feel free to reach out to me at any point.
Okay.
I have a question on that, just simplification. John Merrill, 31 Ranch, in this community also. That the tax millage increase, could you relate that as how does it, a dollar and cents, just for since it goes out through the wire here, just, for the general public?
Yep. So in the last meeting, when we did that presentation, which is on the website, if you do want to see it, the average assessed home value in Telford is $120,000. That's assessment, not your actual retail
Market
price.
price, right.
Yep, market price. That 0.25 is of a mill is approximately like $48,000 and change. It will affect someone with the average household being $120,000. It should be about $30 a year. So that's what you should see in an increase in your taxes. Obviously, if your house is assessed a little higher, it's going to be a little higher. If it's assessed a little lower, it's going to be a little lower. It comes to like 3.1 something percent. So that's about what the tax increase is here. I kind of said that before. Over the past several years,
the inflation rate has hovered around 3.2%. If you extrapolate that over the past 3 years, that goes to about 9.9%. Last year, they increased taxes by 5%. That still leaves you at a deficit over the past 3 years. Those numbers will continue to go higher. Inflation is every year, whether we like it or not. No, I'm not saying we need to raise taxes every year. Let's not say that. I would like to reevaluate every year. And what we were doing this year is the taxes that come in will go directly towards projects for the future. That money is going into the capital fund, which is right now is unfunded. There's very little money in there, and that's something that I think is important moving forward, where if we do have those projects that come up that need to be done in an emergency situation, we will have money in there to be able to do those projects. And if we do go for a grant, which I am very much in support of, a lot of those grants take matching dollars. So in order for us to have those matching dollars, it sure would be nice to be able to have 10 or 20% worth of that to be able to fund that particular project. No money from the new tax increase will go towards the operational budget. If anything, if there's money left over in the operational budget, that will get swiped into the capital fund also. So I'm anticipating there being more than the allotted amount that I put in the budget for it. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew where their money was going.
Okay. And the next resolution, 2510, the ordinance number 436, fixing the tax rate for 2026. So
Motion to approve the resolution 2025-10, ordinance number 436.
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolutions passed. Do you want to take care of the meeting schedule? These are all under your motion to.
Yep.
Okay. The 2026 meeting schedule and the list of approved holidays for the employees of the borough. I think they're all fine. I didn't see any problem with them. So we have a motion for that.
No, I have a question.
Yes.
I just wondering if we got work music today.
So we did reevaluate. The one thing we did add this year, this upcoming year, was Veterans Day. It was something that I thought was pretty important that we do. Not that Martin Luther King isn't important. Right now, I believe there are 15. Is that what we determined there were? 15 federal holidays. You know, I'm not asking to jump right to 15, but I think if we take an approach where you know, maybe we add one every year or so, just to make sure that we are recognizing the holidays, just like you know, the federal government does. Again, it's not really up to me if we add that holiday. That would be an issue for council to vote on as to what holiday they would want to you know, okay, so.
Okay, so need the motion then for approving of the holidays for the employees.
I'll make the motion.
In a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve, ordinance number 433, amending the code of ordinance chapter 11 housing to add a two-part rental inspection program and add the following sections to chapter 11 of the Borough Code of the ordinances. Need a motion for that.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Discussion.
Yeah.
Yes. I did get to the attorney, copy of this. I apologize. This was laid down by me. Camara versus Municipal Court, Supreme Court, 1967. We are not allowed to charge fees for refusal of consent to be punished.
So just to be clear, I read what you gave me. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. After reading the ordinance, there's nothing in there that would punish anybody for refusing consent to go into the rental property. There's citations for inspection, licensing.
But if you
Or
fail to
for
allow-
failing, no, it would be for failing to do the actual work to comply with what the inspection had. But this is speaking directly towards punishing somebody for refusing consent. There's nothing in there for that. They can refuse consent and then a warrant can be obtained. So there isn't anything in this current ordinance that would go against this specific case.
How would the warrant be obtained?
Through
Judicial magistrate, get the legal side of it, but under what probable cause? Because the law says that you have to have probable cause, and that's the court ruling.
through the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, the warrant requirement that we put in there complies with Supreme Court, what they have stated. So this does comply.
I don't see how you see that, because the refusal of consent would result in some kind of warrant need to be.
But this is specifically speaking to a punishment. There is no punishment for
Well,
refusing consent. You can, that's a warrant. It's like if you had a criminal warrant, but this isn't at that level. For a rental inspection, you are to obtain an administrative warrant, and that would allow you to go into the unit at that point, or to our Supreme Court.
I don't think you're breaking that. I apologize to say that, because the basic understanding of the administrative warrant is the Pennsylvania Constitution is even more exacting than the federal Constitution. It says the people shall be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and possessions from unreasonable searches and seizures, and no warrant to search any place, seize any person, or thing shall issue without describing them as nearly as may be, with or without probable cause, or nor without probable cause, sorry, that's prescribed requirement, supported by oath or affirmation subscribed by the affidavit.
And I appreciate your work on this. I'm telling you that we've looked into this, and this ordinance complies with all laws.
Well, it's before the courts right now, it's going through the courts, and
And currently, this is what it is. So I respectfully disagree.
Well, it's in there, it's 1967. The court says is that a valid administrative warrant based on reasonable legislative standards and refusal consent cannot be funded. If you go and get a warrant to get into somebody's home, that process is funded. And I've seen, honestly,
Punishment.
well, it's, you can find it that way, but this is where we as legislators get to decide if we want to go with the spirit of America or not. Because whether the lawyers with black robes say it's okay or not, this founding principle is that you cannot allow people to go into someone's home without probable cause of a crime. And just because someone wants to do an inspection is not a crime. And this is why I say it's turning this into a voluntary thing. In fact, actually one, go ahead and ask that one now. I went through the law stuff, and we can turn this into a voluntary thing where the inspection can occur and be offered to the residents. So say, instead of spending a whole bunch of money on the inspections, we send out a mailer to the entire borough that allows a voluntary inspection once every 2 years. And that in and of itself would attain the goals of protecting everyone, but at the same time, not violating one of the, the top 4 founding principles of our country. And that's kind of what I'm asking us to consider as a group, is that, yeah, we might be able to find a court to agree that, yeah, you can barge into somebody's home, you can do a writ of assistance. That's what they called it back in colonial times when this amendment was created, where British troops could go into your home with a writ of assistance and violate your principles. What I'm saying is, hey, we don't have to do it that way, and we can have our cake and eat it too, without forcing our way into someone's home, in which may or may not be overturned next year anyway. That's what I'm asking us to consider, not just can we get away with it, but why don't we do it where we put people's rights at the top of the agenda? That the spirit of the American principle is what we're protecting here. That the 4th Amendment is not just words on an old sheet of paper. It is something that's a founding principle that we shouldn't violate. And that we can still do everything else in this piece of legislation, charging rental, or rather an annual fee because a rental home is just like a business, you know, if we have a business setup fee, then you to register a business in Telford, you can do that for a landlord, because he's running a bit or she's running a business. But I'm profoundly uncomfortable with any way, shape, or form saying that we can enter a home without probable cause. The basic principle goes back goes back to 1690, but the reality is that I think this is profoundly un-American in how we do this. And I would ask, since we have a motion, I would motion to amend to include what you have before you, that would circumvent and take away all of the requirements of warrants, or rather the ability to go into someone's home without a properly lawful warrant.
I would state that as it's written currently, it complies with all laws in this state and the country. And it's up to the board to make a decision on what they want to do with it, but this currently constructed ordinance complies with all laws. So there isn't, it's not offending anything if you did choose the best.
Okay, so war game it out for me. I have a landlord or I have a tenant. And they say you can't come into my home. You go get a judicial warrant or a administrative warrant. And that person says, no, you still can't come here. Or what cause would you argue before a judge that says you can kick somebody's door down to do an inspection? What would you argue for that judge?
I don't know practically how we would do it. I do know that the state gives you right of entry into a specific unit if you do obtain that warrant.
Yeah, but you have to articulate a probable cause of a crime having been committed.
Not for this specific thing.
Well, that's what the, you know, Camarda versus Municipal Court determined. It was is that you cannot just do it, and you sure can't punish people. And part of, like I said, process is punishment, where you allow someone to take down a door, whether or not it's still punishment.
I mean, I can tell you what is the law right now. And anything beyond that is for the board to deliberate. So the law is constructed, notwithstanding this case, is that the borough would be allowed to get an administrative warrant if they were passed, if somebody did not give consent, they would allow to enter the actually.
I would also say that, we're not asking the tenant for permission, we're asking the owner for permission, because the owner, now that then becomes an issue between the owner and the tenant.
Right, and the tenant can say no, because they're the domicile in question, they're the ones that are having the rights violated. It's not the landlord is conducting the business. What we're doing is taking away the rights of the little guy, who's the renter. Whereas you can, like I said, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have inspection, but it's voluntary and not required by the heavy hand of government. And I'm asking you, I'm appealing to you on a larger principle of right and wrong. That you can set it up to allow a a tenant of Telford to request an inspection. Nothing can stop that. The landlord can't stop it because that room, that's the castle doctrine. It's the idea that their home is their castle. So if they request someone who's an inspector of the borough to come in, there's nothing the landlord can do to stop it. Because they have a contract that says that's their home, their castle.
We have a motion and a second.
No, I did a motion to apply this secondary legal attachment to circumvent 203, 205, 207.
So if we already had a motion and a second
For the original.
for the original, so we would then take the vote for that.
Yeah.
Well, no, you have to take my amendment and vote, if there's a second to my amendment, to
Okay,
take away the warrant side of this and make it a voluntary. So that requires someone to do a second. But there was a question from the crowd.
Actually, there is maybe a couple questions. Yeah. I'll say. Well, now I have two because what you're proposing. My initial question, probably more for the solicitor, is this ordinance not already kind of similar to the ordinances that exist in other towns? I believe Quakertown Borough specifically, when I was when my business was in Quakertown Borough, our building was mixed use and we could not refuse an inspection by the borough at all. And, or we would get fined.
Which is illegal, according to the.
But this was, and this, I'm talking, this was like, this makes.
Yeah, business is fine.
Yeah, but, it's not similar to existing ordinances already.
So there are ordinances, yes, that exist, and they include this warrant required. And it is on the books in several
Right.
different towns.
Thought, because I was cross-referencing it too.
And it's pending before the Pennsylvania Supreme Court right now.
So then my question to you on your amendment, when you talk about refusal, what if I, as the tenant, want the inspection, but my landlord does not want the inspection?
Landlord can't stop you.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a contract.
Is that clearly explicit
Very
in
clear.
your amendment there?
Yep,
Is that,
that's the whole point, is that you, as the end little guy in the home, still have your castle principle, that somebody can't come into your home under any circumstance without probable cause.
Okay.
But you can still request one from the borough, because we set up the program.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Well, me, a question for the council, specifically for Mr. Jacobus. Is Mr. Jacobus any sort of a traditional or perhaps a non-traditional landlord, Airbnb, other such short-term rental?
No.
No?
No, it's fine.
Not at this time. Very good. Thank you.
So what does council, do you want to add the amendment? Well, enough, and yet the solicitor says what we have is good right now in the state.
I did have a few things to add, but I don't want to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No.
I wanted to ask, I'm so sorry, Brian, 214 reaching. So in your amendment, where you say that it's the tenant's, are you saying it's the tenant's responsibility to request the, how would you communicate to the, I think last meeting you said 300 addresses, correct? But that does not.
It's not units, properties.
That's what I was going to say. It's not units, it's addresses.
Correct.
So we are assuming that that's more than 300.
It will be,
It's a lot of people to communicate.
it will be a lot.
Say it's 500.
So 500, how would you communicate to 500 people that I assume 498 of them are not in this room?
Yeah, well, what's great about it's the inspection fees and the registration fees, we have extra capital to do it. So instead of requiring our guy to go out every time, we can send out a mailing maybe once or twice, 3 times a year at the discretion of the borough manager to say, hey, if it's this quarter, you know, if you go out in the water bill, it's time, if you want to have a inspection of your home as a rental person, you can order or request one, and our inspector will be there in the next 1 month. So, you know, to do the inspection of your home.
Now, if the tenant requests it, would then the borough communicate with the landlord or the tenant about the inspection?
It would, under my legislation, it would be purely between the discretion of the renter who has the contract to the castle, the home. Landlord doesn't find out about it until after the inspection is done and the document is sent to them saying, fix this, this, and this.
Do you agree with that, Mr. Collins?
So typically, the way it works is we had this very inspection program in Rockledge, which is where I was prior to being here. The information gets sent to the owner. However, the owner then usually will tell us to make the appointment with the tenant.
Okay.
So we did reach out to the tenant and we would make, because they're the ones who are going to be there. The homeowners, the rental inspection or the rental owner isn't probably going to want to go around with you and inspect 8 units. So typically you would just set up with the tenants. So there is communication. Part of, I will say, part of the registration process is to try and gather that information of who lives in there. More just general things like how many, do you have pets, anything you want us to know. I'm not gonna pry. We're not gonna pry and tell you, you have to tell us everybody who lives in that house. But if, for your safety, this is for your safety. If you want us to know how many people are in that house, you have anybody with special needs, you have any animals, anything you want us to know, you need to let us know. That will go into our database here that we can keep track of. So I understand what Mr. Jacobus is saying. I totally, I get it. I wouldn't have an issue if we would leave everything the same except for someone who would refuse it. Is then maybe, listen, either way, if we're not gonna inspect it, whether they refuse or whether we do it on a voluntary basis, we're still not inspecting the person who doesn't want it inspected. So if we put an amendment in there where if someone refuses, a tenant, not an owner,
Not the owner.
if a tenant refuses, I have no issue with that piece, because I think most tenants will want you to come in and make sure that the facility is okay. Are there gonna be some who don't want to? Yeah, sure. And you know what? We obviously, we can't help them. If
That's
they,
a red flag though. In some cases.
and
Some cases, they'll cry for help, they think they're gonna be.
And that's exactly what we're trying to do here. So is, if they refuse, then so be it. I can't help.
My final point would be the concern that the tenant wants it, but if the borough is talking with the landlord, which may or may not happen.
Yeah.
But if the borough is talking with the landlord, what is to stop the landlord from claiming the tenant does not want it? In order to circumvent this whole process.
So
I'm now in six.
hopefully, yeah, and that's up to them. I get it. And I'm glad you stood up and asked questions. Please ask questions.
Yeah.
And that's how we get things done, is we get input from the residents.
The point of legislation is end user.
Yeah.
So it'd be you, not.
And before we continue, I just want, I don't rent. You guys talking at me, and this isn't affecting me, I just have concerns.
No, I'm talking at you because you asked the question, that's all.
got it.
So, and I appreciate you asking the question. I think, if we can, we're gonna try and get a hold of that tenant no matter what. I don't typically take the word of somebody else for somebody speaking on somebody else's behalf. If you're asking me a question, I wouldn't want Bob to answer it for me. I would want me to answer it. So that's what we would try and do, is make sure we try and get to the tenant and ask them, hey, if you don't want us to come and inspect it, we won't.
Yeah.
But
If the tenant refuses, I understand.
and I get it.
But if the landlord refuses, then I would think,
There's nothing. He can't.
yeah.
Yeah, at that point, they can.
I just want to ensure that whatever we have set up ensures that they can. That's all.
Yep, thank you.
I'm sorry to make the dynamic.
No, thank you for.
This is for the Madam President and for our solicitor. Is this required to be, all seven of you, what do you call that? Unanimous, or it's simply, 4 out of the 7 of you need to vote yes, a majority to pass this ordinance, and perhaps tell someone to pound sand. Just as a legal judgment.
An amendment requires 2/3 vote. Under Robert's rules.
Yes. But if we're just talking about voting for the original ordinance, it's a majority.
Yes. You could be done with this.
Well, we had the motion in the second. So.
We have a motion for the amendment. So
So
either
I
that's,
just need to understand if there's a second, I guess.
if there's no second for my amendment, then it does.
Okay. So we're just gonna vote.
Second for
The second for the original,
yes.
okay.
That's if there is a motion.
So a motion was made for the original agreement.
Yes.
Do we want a second to adopt, to take the original and not take Mr. Jacobus?
No, we already have a second.
Yeah, we have a second.
That's what I said.
You just have to motion whether to vote now, if there's no second.
I'm adding an amendment. Now, if nobody seconds my amendment, then I'll.
Call the question. Right, the second was already for the original. So it goes back to the original motion. Yes.
We're going to just.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Madam President,
Ready?
she's asking questions.
Christopher, let us out now. How can we, as the borough members, not accept a voluntary inspection process where it protects the end user? It's almost a no-brainer.
So I mean, I can give a little bit of feedback as to why I would prefer to have an ordinance in place that makes this required. Because ultimately, that puts the responsibility on the renter to request this process, which in my opinion is, we are looking to protect renters. We're looking to make sure that individuals, I mean, I was with Lauren in a lot of these discussions that we had over the course of the summer and the fall. Individuals, many individuals in this borough telling stories of heat not being on for weeks at a time, the broken windows, the vents that aren't working, things like that. To then make it a requirement of those individuals to request this when they could potentially have fear of retribution from.
Why would they want to stay in a place like that though?
To not have options to go other.
Well, there's lots of low income housing around.
It's easy for you to say. If you're
Not really.
It's easy for you to say you're not in their position.
Where I am at, this was even 10 years ago. There was a 2-year wait list just to get into where I was. It's probably a 4-year wait list right now to get in. And there are a lot of problems that our landlord does not address that without this ordinance are continuing to go unaddressed.
And there's a lot of instances where the landlord will tell you, you're the resident there, and he tells you, if you squawk about it, I'll increase your rates, or I'll make it more horrible for you to live by every day. But if it makes it mandatory, you're gonna get that inspection. If it's gonna make it tougher, you want to do it voluntary.
Yeah, but the proposal is allowing the tenant to voluntary without the landlord's knowledge. Then the landlord gets informed that he has to fix all
You
these.
should be informed anyway of what's happening in your rental.
And if you're talking to people and there's broken windows on the first floor, go in for that landlord. Directly.
But because of that probable cause, that's the difference, is that you have probable cause.
Go after that landlord. How about all these people that are renting for 20 years on the same place? They love their landlord, they love their house, everything is wonderful. And now you can make them get an inspection?
Well, then they have a 5-minute inspection. It's a good inspection. It's done.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, this is from the bad, not the good.
Right, see, that's in charge.
That's true.
You register your permit unit here, you have to pay a fee. That's already been adopted.
Just to address, I think what you're saying, if you're a good landlord,
Yeah,
this is easy.
yeah, this is.
And we're not looking to penalize good landlords. We're looking to go after the landlords that are not doing proper maintenance on the property. We're looking for the landlords that are, causing, there's 3 rental units in the building and there's 1 bathroom. Those are the folks we're
How
looking.
did they get insurance in the first place to do that? There's people put in place.
Some of them aren't carrying insurance or aren't telling their insurance company that this property is rented. They also pay off the insurance.
Well, I'm sure somebody said you only need 2 houses, but why do you have 2 houses? They know one's rental.
See, at the end of the day, this is a value discussion about the nanny state versus rugged individualism. At the end of the day, that's what America is. It's the idea of, do we go out and take care of ourselves, or do we have a government come and take care of us? And we struggle with that balance as we create laws. And I think that because we have a 4th Amendment, this one oversteps too far into the nanny state, especially when it's so clearly enumerated, the right of people to be secure in their persons, houses, and papers. It was a founding principle. I would just say, you can have your cake and eat it too by making it voluntary. Because the inspection will still be there. If there's broken windows, if there's heat turned off, we can go after those people because we have probable cause. That's not stopping our inspection program. That's the difference. It is the fundamental principle of, are we going to abide by the spirit of America by abiding by the Fourth Amendment? Starting stage.
So let's see, we get, did anybody second?
So the question is, does anybody want to second the amendment?
Everybody second this amendment.
Anybody's seconded? We can second to, Jacoby's
That amendment, that's not been advertised and this is an ordinance? Is that copacetic?
There is a way to do that, but we have to have second. Yes, team vote on.
Yeah, you can amend the piece of legislation.
So we need a motion.
We have the same, yes, they can do it.
Okay.
Why?
Okay, all
Does
in
that-
favor?
What that's if there's a second.
A Sarah second, right, now, to the motion of Mr. Jacobus. Hearing none,
The motion dies.
okay, is there a motion to approve the original motion as written?
I'll make that motion.
And a second,
Second motion.
any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Surprise. No.
You voted that. Now we move on to the next. Our next thing is discussion of the motion to advertise ordinance number 435. An ordinance of the Borough of Telford approving the Telford Borough Authority's Articles of Amendment and amending section 1-502 of the Borough Code to amend the Articles of Incorporation for the authority to include stormwater planning, management, implementation, and the authority's purpose and powers to rename the authority the Telford Regional Authority and to extend the existence of the authority for an additional 50 years. Any discussion?
So I had just one thing. Sorry.
That's okay.
On this. And, I think, and this is something that has been brought up to, by a handful of individuals to me, as reading through this and everything. Would it be possible, to outline, and I'm not sure if in the documentation is the place to do that, I leave that up to the solicitor. What potential cost impact this could have for borough residents? The reason I ask this is, obviously, if we Telford Borough retain this, something happens MS4, we have to address it.
That's correct.
Really, the only ways that Telford Borough has to potentially come up with those funds would be tax increase.
Correct.
Millage increase or borrowing.
Correct.
And neither of those are very flexible ways of addressing this. If the authority ends up taking the responsibility for this, let's say you then have some type of additional cost, unforeseen cost, or maybe foreseen but more immediate type of cost. What would the musical numbers?
And I brought it with me. So,
What would the potential impact be? How would that be addressed? How would that impact borough residents, I guess, if there's a way to sort of articulate that?
well, not too much articulate, I think you want me to enumerate, I don't have that number, I don't know what that is. Are you saying? I understand your, okay, it really, it's same but different, okay? Sorry, I got it. Same but different. The Borough Council would be funding MS4 through the general fund, all right, taxation, just as you said. How would the authority do the same thing if it transferred over?
Exactly.
First off, we have, all right, which we account for, all right, but how do we get that money? We get the money that we have set aside in order to fund our projects by depreciating the infrastructure that we have. So that's the stuff on the ground, the stuff you see, building up today, all right? It's a depreciation of it. So you give it a life and you say, at X amount of years, it isn't going to be worth anything and I've got to replace it. And hopefully your depreciation schedule is correct.
Yeah.
All right. And you're accounting for inflation, so you have money back in the bank to do that. Now you can pull those funds and do other stuff if you have a surprise, right? But that's not what you want to do. We would look at the MS4 infrastructure here, exactly the same way. And then say, okay, you have an MS4 infrastructure. Let's say you just place a 50-year lifetime on it. I'm just going to make a blanket right now. All right. We go out there and you say, and you have $1 million worth of product in the ground to replace. Right now, it's past its 50-year lifetime. So you could say, I need to fully depreciate that now. And then you take that 50, whatever the number I said it was, 50 years of life, fully depreciated now for $1 million. And then you would say, I need to add that as a MS4 fee, all right, and charge the residents. That would be ridiculous to do that. What you would do in reality is say, I've got to do maybe 10% a year. All right, so the first year I take a 10% depreciation, all right, and add that, and it's going to be a storm, water, or MS4 fee. There's no way else around. It doesn't fall from the sky. It is not a rain tax, and there's no such thing as a rain tax. You can't tax rain. All right, it's inconsistent. Some years you're going to dry up. But you have to look at supporting that infrastructure in some way, shape, or form. And it's a line item you're going to, see as a borough resident on a bill. Now, what would it equate to? I was a homeowner in North Carolina for many years, right? And we had an MS4 infrastructure fee. It was $15 a quarter. 15 bucks a quarter. It wasn't a lot, all right? Now, the other thing though here is if you look at what's happening in your general fund, you have places that pay nothing to support your MS4 because they're tax exempt. There is no tax exempt when you have a fee or a rent, in this case, for MS4. So everybody pays something. Would there be a fix in place in the first year? Impossible. It'll probably take the authority a year to get under its belt what is really in the ground and what its cost is. If we did that in a year, man, I'm telling you, we're doing a lot. It wouldn't happen. So what would the authority do? We would probably take today, trying to look at what the history of cost is, and I don't mean to be hijacking this meeting, all right? But what the history of costs are or were, and say, if it's $50,000 a year, what does that equate to X amount of customers a year? It might be $5 a quarter.
Yeah.
All right, something like that. That would be the starting. And until we were able to drill down, find out everything that's needed, make a good accounting, get with our financial people, say, does this make sense? And the engineering, does it make sense? And then you can go forward. So it's a long process. And we're going to be burning money at that time trying to find that out too. I mean, on that subject matter, we're burning money. So, did I help you?
You did. And I think, and realistically, I think that was the crux of the questions that at least I've been getting. Is that what does this mean? What would it mean? What could it potentially mean in the future? And I think that was really just the thing that was a bit nebulous. It's, understanding that we
And
are
that's true.
constrained at the borough level to
It's okay, yeah.
raise those funds, but what would it look like potentially if
It's
the,
probably 25 years now, if not even more, maybe 30, all right, that the MS4 or stormwater management became a term and was implemented. A lot of it was implemented out in the West Coast first, and that's what it's, and people labeled it rain tax. It's against the law. I can't, the authority can't tax. You have no taxing powers, all right? It's against the law. It couldn't be that. You guys are sort of the ones that implement the rain tax, if you want to look at it, but it's a taxation in order to build that general fund to support it. If you take that MS4 out of your budget, you're not going to have more money to spend on other things. All right. But look, that's not where I want to go. What I did was going to go anymore.
no, thank you, I appreciate that.
Does anybody from council have any additional questions,
Yes.
concerns?
In addition to the fee that there's a charge every month, where usually it's been what, 15 cents? But the bills have been going up quarterly.
No, ma'am, the bills do not escalate quarterly. They only escalate once a year. We will, we do a budget much like yours every year. And we look at, and really, our bill increases, our billing increases follow the rate of inflation almost to the dead nut point. We've been very fortunate with that because from the feedstock that we use, the raw materials we use, they tend to average out. If it's a petrochemical item, or derivative, that's up 8, 9, 10, 12% many times. But there's others that haven't increased at all. Just like we see with your road salt and other things. Some years you'll see it go, it's just a steep, drive, and other years it's leveled out because we didn't have any, that type of deal. So, but it's about 3%.
But this would be an additional, your cost for this MS4 would be an additional into the charge for the residents each year. So they would be also charged for the MS4 plus whatever your percentage rate is for that particular year. So there would definitely be an increase.
Could you put a safeguard in your ordinance that would,
Let me try to address it. Hold on one second.
let's connect this up.
Let me walk us down the annual path here. All right. On January 1, actually, our billing cycle is slightly off, as you know, okay? But January 1, we will say, because that's when our new budget goes into effect, water rent has increased by X amount %. I think this year it is right at 3%. Sewer rent has increased by 3.4. I think that was slightly greater. And I believe that's right at where we are inflation-wise. That's it. Now, let's say 2027, you're saying, if we had taken over, all right, the MS4, storm sewer, we wouldn't have a number at that time. So let's just say we put $5 a quarter on it. We just took a random number based on what you guys had in history put in the budget. We take that, we break it down, we say, bang, this is what it costs. Are you saying, would that $5 increase next year by 3% if inflation was 3%?
If that, yes.
It does in your budget also. So yes, it would be in step, just like yours, until we had a better number. And that may be the greatest number right there. So,
So is there anything that you can put in your motion, your advertising ordinance to maybe warn the residents of the community that yes, there's going to be a cost for this? There's nothing in there right now.
that wouldn't be the place to put it. That would It'd be like you having an ordinance saying, oh, for our budgetary, we're going to increase taxes every year. It doesn't, what ordinance in front of you is truly asking is three things. Of which one is, just so we don't go about this ad nauseum 5 years down the road, is if you want to consider by some chance having the authority take over your MS4, it's already in the language there. And we can sit down and talk about how do we switch it up. That's what it says now. That is the feeling that we walked away from last month's meeting with, when the motion that was seconded on the table died, or somebody made a motion and it died in second, and yet there was no discussion by Borough Council, which was a shortcut, to give any idea or indication, what happened here. So we went back, we said, maybe this, hopefully we read it right. This is what they're saying. We just put it in there and said, if you want to consider this at some later date, all you have to do is raise your hand. We'll sit down and start talking. All right. So it's not happening this year. It's not happening next year. I can guarantee you. All right. Because we have projects we're going to be moving on in the coming year. But it's open. The second item, regional, when we changed the name from Telford Borough Authority to Telford Regional Authority, the customer base has the wrong idea because they come to Borough Council or to the Borough office feeling this is where it's at. It says Borough. Regional also more clearly depicts the service areas that we service. And very shortly, we will have more customers external to the borough than what than what's here today. So they will be the larger group of customers. Doesn't mean that the borough gets shortchanged or anything. It's just, the growth is happening out in the outer regions. And those are service areas that have been there for us for 50 some odd years. The lastly is extending the charter to 50 years. We're going to be looking for money. We're at a point now where we have built our resources up. We are now a good customer to the banks. They want people like us. We're waiting for the right interest rate, and we're going to borrow some significant monies for additional projects that we need to do. We want it to be ready. All right. Because these will probably be 15, 20-year terms on these things. That when the correct interest rate hit, we could play them and not have to go, 2 months, 3 months trying to get another ordinance through. We just added that in there because if we're going with something, let's just extend it. And we're out about 12 years, I think now. That's all we have left. That won't get us when we go to the Borough. So no, we're not looking for you to approve anything about MS4, or switching MS4 from your domain into ours. We don't want that. The language is there, should you ever desire. We're ready to move forward with other stuff.
It's up to council.
Sure, you had a question. Did it get covered? Yeah. Okay. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anybody else on council? Comments? Okay, well, we have the motion. Oh, sorry.
Actually, this is perhaps a point of curiosity. In the past, years past, I know some of the discussion for these sorts of things, interfacing with the authority, was handled by the Public Works Subcommittee. The Public Works Committee could make your general meetings more efficient by spending time with Mr. Harrell and the authority. In the past month, since that last meeting, has that happened? No?
Bill, there's so many at, our meeting quite well.
No, the last time I was yours in June.
No, I attend the board. I attend their meetings.
Okay.
Robert attends the meetings. All right.
But you didn't have any comment.
Manager, attends the meetings. The manager usually speaks with council. That's how it usually would work. I know it was different here.
Yeah, years past, just go back to years past, and of course, the world evolves.
Where's the 45?
Sometimes not.
All right, well, we need the motion to advertise for this.
Oh, we have to advertise it now.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Well, I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
So this is just to advertise,
Just for advertising?
just for advertising. I think that's it.
Nothing else?
Still have I still have a couple questions.
Then why don't you ask?
I'm trying to,
Robert?
I'm trying to process everything that you said. And I'm going back and rereading something here that I've read differently before. And I'm trying to process that right now. And it does clearly say that for stormwater planning management and implementation of administration and assessment of related fees in connection with the construction, operation, maintenance, and repairs necessary for the implementation and operation of the borough's municipal separate storm sewer system when authorized by the municipality.
Sits in your lap, 100%.
So this ordinance,
We're not taking anything. Oh, we can't take it from you until you say it's time.
that's what she called it. Okay. I'm just, because I didn't understand that the way it was written.
Yeah, that's what went back, that came from our takeaway last month, all right, and then I believe we did the resolution and your first included light in yours. That's correct, yeah, right.
The question you clarified as far as you're not taking, no, you can sit down, you're not taking it right away. My question was going to be, putting something in there for the residents to make sure there's some hold on it, that they don't get all of a sudden a $5, $10, $15, $30 fee in 2020. That was my question.
Not in the ordinance, not in the resolution, all right. It would,
They explained to some group.
See, first of all, what the problem is they're worried there's going to be a sudden explosion of fees, and that's
well,
what
the explosion of fees on
that's the articulated problem.
the Borough County side, if you get nailed with something.
Mhm.
You get nailed with something, all right, you can always say, we're gonna go for a grant. No, it doesn't work that way. If you're not shovel ready, a lot of times, you don't get a grant. You don't have that luxury. And many times with the regulatory side, and as I know that some of you work in the regulatory, you know it, the mandate is here to do it and the fix is there. You've got to meet that time frame.
Nothing else.
I will guarantee, you can go take a look. All right, go take a look. Tell me what you look like to the lending institutes today. Mr. Manager? That's enough. Okay. It's not to put anybody on the hot seat. But what I'm saying is the authority's in a position that they can finance this stuff within reason. All right. Because of how we structure our stuff. It's different. The authority operates different than what Borough Council does. And for a reason. That's why you guys made the authority. I mean, here's the saying. You brought us into this world, you can take us out. You guys can make this 50-year thing tonight at a vote if you want to. It doesn't matter if you make it this year or next year. But tomorrow or next month's meeting, you say 50 years or not, you're done. You guys are done. And there is no more authority. So what we're really doing is just saying, let's get the paperwork in order. And we can all go down doing what we need. I mean, I'm not trying to oversimplify, I'm trying to make it clear. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking what we need to do is just the motion to advertise, period, at this time.
That's what it is, right? Motion advertised.
Okay, that's no Cheryl's going.
Motion, we have a second.
Yeah.
Bob made the second. Okay. Just a motion and a second to advertise right now. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, just advertise.
The advertisement is the opportunity now for public comment.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, Public Works is next on our agenda. Mr. Harris, report was in the packet.
Yes, Madam.
Questions for Mr. Harris?
Happy to answer.
Are you sure?
Nope, all
Can
right.
I ask a question? The only thing I would like to say is thank you for your fellows that picked up the leaves this year one fellow was actually out of the truck, breaking the leaves, and the other guy driving. Other years, they both sat in the truck.
No, on my street, they're not doing that. How is your street different?
I don't know.
Paper chisel.
Oh, boy. It comes like a president.
The crew did a great job.
Great job.
They did.
Sorry, John. You have to move.
Great job for the holidays all around the area, and especially in the marketplace, did a great job.
They've kicked it up a notch and quite impressed with the crew.
And you put up the Christmas lights. What's the problem with the one on Reliance Road? Explain that.
So the problem with the 4 lights that are out
Oh,
are the same 4 poles that for the last several years, we have been in contact with PP&L to replace, rehab, or reinstitute the power to the controlling unit. There are 2 that the pole has been replaced. The unit is mounted to the pole. It is not energized. So we can change a fuse, change a photo cell and plug it in, but it doesn't have power to it because the old pole was disconnected from it. And then we have 2 units that we have tried the photo cells, we have tried fuses. It is out of our scope of electrical knowledge with what is coming directly from those wires. And we require PP&L to do that. We have sent them several messages. We actually did have a lineman come out the other week. He was unsure about the units that are there. So he went back to his manager to find out what and how to do what they need to do to fix our 4 lights that are out.
okay. I just needed to have that explained because I know residents,
Sure.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on, our professional consultant reports, Mr. Lenny Law, Mark.
Thank you. We took care of all of the advertisements for this month's meeting. Put together the budget that we put out for that. We did review a few contracts that I go over with the manager for potential tech employees and other employees. We are finalizing the Summerfield Phase 4 initiative. There's a number of miscellaneous legal issues that are kind of ongoing. We are currently working on employee handbook for the manager. Hopefully we can get that, or I'm hoping to get that to him by the end of the week. There is a revision for a sublease that I'm working on to extend the period of what we were asking for. And I know there's some down the road they can sort out. If there's any questions from the council, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions for the solicitor? Okay, with you. I guess CKS, that was in the packet. So there's, yes, you have something to add? No? Okay. Moving on to council committee reports, finance and administration. Meredith, would you please take that?
Absolutely. So I would like to make a motion to approve the bills for November 2025 in the amount of $334,547.15 as outlined in pages 8 through 13 of the packet.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Oh, no. Shocking. Keeping that campaign promise from 4 years ago.
Planning and zoning, Meredith?
Yes, so I attended the Regional Planning Commission meeting on November 25th. And we are finalizing the open space and natural features of the overall Indian Valley Regional Comprehensive Plan. They're just adding some content on greenways, future land use, making sure that everything is in line with the individual municipalities, individual zoning ordinances. The draft should be ready in February. So the plan as it stands right now is that for our March series of meetings, we would have Eric Jarrell come and do the presentation, both for council and the planning commission. Just to kind of overview, what does this mean? As far as Telford is concerned, there's not really much of anything changing. They do like to sort of give each municipality the, overview and the purview of their own, area. The one interesting thing I just wanted to highlight for everyone here, the December meeting of the Montgomery County Planning Commission is coming up on Wednesday, December 10th at 9 a.m. via Zoom. And they are actually going to be discussing data centers. So I know that's a big, interesting topic that is on a lot of people's minds, probably not as impactful here in the borough, because we don't necessarily have space to go to data center. But just in general. So if anyone's interested, it's a meeting that's open to the public. You can go on the Montgomery County Planning Commission's website and you'll be able to find the Zoom link and all the details there.
Very good. Thank you. Environmental Committee, Ms. Serena.
We have a reorganizational meeting in January.
Did we get that check?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe we did.
Thank you. Public Works, Building and Plant Committee, Mr. Jacobus.
Nothing to report there. More.
And Public Safety Committee, Mr. Sparks.
We didn't have a meeting this month because of Thanksgiving, so probably kick up the series starting again in January, because the next meeting would also occur during the Christmas holidays, so we'll probably go ahead and kick that up then.
Okay, Development and Culture, Mr. Taylor.
Just got a few items here. As anybody have noticed on Facebook, we're driving around to the municipal park here. We have a mailbox here for letters to Santa Claus from the children and or adults. It's been right on the tree. And just giving you we've had it out there for how long more?
Since we put the tree up, so a little over a week.
So a little over a week, we got 13 letters from the kids in the neighborhood. We got people from Hardersville, Quakertown, Hatfield, and Salverton, and I'm assuming Telford. Yes. Somebody else? Yes.
I have a question for you, Mr. Taylor. Are those letters going to be answered?
Yes,
You need volunteers to help with that?
yes. So, well, you have to be an elf. You have to be an elf.
I've been told I'm a very naughty elf, but
Just the same.
Just say elf, didn't say.
I'm just gonna let that go. There's too much there. So we're asking for anytime they want to drop the letters there up until the tree lighting, and even after the tree lighting, we'll still get those letters, but since Santa's gonna be here on Friday for tree lighting, once he leaves, we'll have to get those letters to him very quickly so he can respond back to each other. But get the message out. It's on the Telford Happens Facebook page. I think we have it on our page. I think, yes.
You said it was for adults too. I just wanted to say, thank you for thinking about the rest of them.
Well, it should be free state children of all ages.
I'm a child at heart.
We're all separate, Charlie.
Send your letter.
And so there's a gingerbread decorating contest that Telford Happy Inc. is working with the cafe and catering place on the corner here. You see the old town. Trying to see the dates. Judges will be taking place on December 11th. So if you go into the store, there's like a sample of what it's supposed to look like, and you can get a kit to work your gingerbread house. And it'll be about 4 people judging for the contest. And just so you know, cash prizes. First place is $50. Second place, $30. Third place, $20. And looks like the winners will be announced at the Telford Tree Lighting. There you go. So we'll know this Friday. And the tree lighting is Friday. But I have 2 other little ones, but the Holiday Market, the Penn Valley Trust. I want to thank the church. They did an amazing job setting us up. And the attendance was really great. This is the first year we've had this, where all 4 food trucks showed up. We've had like 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 4, but all 4 food trucks showed they worked good. 2 little quick ones. I have to say, because this is the Development and Culture Committee, I have to give the accolades to our borough manager for a culture appropriate jacket. Right, I can't see the sock.
Sock and gingerbread. Socks are, he's just sucking up down.
And Brian and I have been talking about trying to get a program within the borough to do recognize the employees, significant marks, like 25th year, 50th year. So one of the things we're doing This, if you're not aware of it, if you've been in the cone for a while, this is Emmeline Weiss, our president, who will be her last meeting. She'll be resigning. So what we wanted to do is give a little accolade to her. So you know who Emmeline is, what she has done for our community. So council wanted to recognize our outgoing council president, Emmeline Weiss, not only for her outstanding tenure to Telford Borough Council, but her dedication to the community. Emmeline Weiss, better known as Emmy, is a lifelong resident of Montgomery County. She's been married to her husband, George Weiss, for 60 years, served in public service for over 42 years, and deep roots of our community. Emmy was elected to Telford Borough Council in 2021, has been an asset to council ever since. She currently serves as president of Telford Borough Council. When she's not handling Telford Borough Council business, you'll find her serving the community as a music and choir director at Christ Reformed Church for the past 28 years. She's also spent some free time helping senior citizens in her home, as well as a Lutheran home in Telford. She has spent 35 years as the Montgomery County Telford Republican Committee woman. She was born and raised in Franconia Township, Montgomery County. She graduated from Southside High School. During the latter half of her senior year, she began working for Beltel Conshohocken in a computer room. She worked there for 5 years before retiring to raise her children, Francis and Georgianne. In 1984, she was actually appointed the tax collector for Telford Borough and held that position until retiring in 2017, when John took over. During her time as tax collector, Emmy became involved in the PA State Tax Collectors Association and served as their president for 16 years. She recently told us in a car ride, she's probably visited every county in Fox County or Pennsylvania.
The state of Pennsylvania.
Every county, state of Pennsylvania, working with the tax. She also taught tax collection procedures and law for PSATS. During those years, she traveled to many counties across Pennsylvania. Later, she worked for the Salvation tax collector, Edward Moore, until he retired. At that time, Emmeline has also learned the preparation of federal tax, state income taxes, then started her own income tax businesses. I've known Emmy for over 5 years. I'm honored to call her a colleague and a friend. When I look at Emmy and her history, I see a person who emulates many outstanding selfless qualities: dedication, honesty, intelligence, reliability, and personality. If her history tells me anything, it tells me she'll take a short break, possibly, and we'll be back up in our community. Emmy, we thank you for everything you have done and continue to do for others.
It's been a while.
And as a little item of our appreciation, we have a little something here. It says Telford Borough, Emmeline Weiss, thanks for serving 42 years, December 5th, 2025.
Very nice. Wow.
Very.
I didn't expect all this.
Speech.
Let me tell you everything. What they tell you.
And then I'm done.
Okay. Well, I have a few words to say also tonight. I would just like to thank the many residents in Telford Borough who have supported me because of my honesty and integrity in the past years as tax collector and also as serving on the Borough Council. I have enjoyed my time meeting face to face with a lot of you, getting to know you and your families. To those individuals who are newly elected coming onto council, you are part of 7 members, and you must work together to accomplish what needs to be done for the residents of Telford Borough. As I have found out, many goals and wants take time. Nothing moves fast in government. When you take your oath in January, that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. Remember your oath. And I wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year. And thank you so much for everything. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Foster?
Well, I would like to say, not so fast. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Emmeline for her long and dedicated tenure as a Telford Borough public servant. I'm especially grateful for her confidence in me and for believing that I was the right person for this position. Emmeline's 42 years of service reflects her unwavering commitment to the Telford Borough community. She has helped me better understand the history of Telford, something that I value deeply and find as a useful tool. We honor and respect our history. We are better equipped to shape the future. Thank you for your service for Telford Borough. Additionally, I'd like to take this time to thank Bob Scobus for his service. During his 4-year tenure, Bob Scobus demonstrated strong commitment to his ideas and his work. Although I have only worked with Bob for a short period of time, he quickly became a valued resource to me and offered insight and support that is starting to help with the transformation processes and culture in Telford. His dedication and perspective made a meaningful impact. Thank you for your service. To all the elected officials and the new elected officials, I'd like to express my appreciation for all of the elected officials. This is truly a thankless job. The pay is insignificant, yet the hours and effort you dedicate come from a genuine commitment to the Telford community. You are often tasked with making decisions that are for the best of Telford Borough as a whole, when those decisions may not align perfectly with your personal beliefs. So I just want to extend my sincere thanks to Emmeline, to Bob, and all the elected officials who selflessly give their time and energy in service to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any other business to come before council tonight? Hearing none. Any citizens' comments at this time?
Yes, can I add data centers to the ordinance that we're? That's a good idea, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other comments?
I do, unless someone else, if anyone else would like to go first, I don't have something.
You're right.
Oh,
You're in.
just making sure.
Last comment of the year.
I'll try to do this. You're gonna love this. So we had some very nice, farewell for Eveline. Eveline, thank you very much. I know we answered a lot, but it's fun. So thank you. This is an ode to Mr. Jacobus.
The Eagles are really big.
Start the 3 minutes.
So it was about 4 years ago that I started paying attention to local politics, specifically the lack of transparency of then current leadership. I ran for council for 2 reasons: to hold then President Miles Arnott accountable for his actions in the prior years, especially in the 2020 House race where he acted like a toddler and bleeding me from his loss. Not long after the gentleman I ran against resigned again, someone within the party ranks was appointed in a very untransparent move to retain party power. Enter Mr. Jacobus. From the minute he stepped in, his work to destroy the public library began. What began as a letter from former President Miles Arnott to look at inappropriate material in the library unfolded into a massive obsession with the notion that anything gay was pornographic, that somehow children were being exposed to pornography through books and like the Tango Makes 3, a book that tells a true story about 2 male penguins that bonded and eventually hatched and raised an orphan egg. We began February 2023 with this building packed beyond capacity, people outraged at the cuts to library funding in the present budget, and the proposed cuts by Robert and his co-conspirators, Caitlin Durstall, the local Moms for Liberty rabble rouser. We witnessed Robert go on a rant, taking up the public's time, going off about books with gay subjects, characters and themes being sources of grooming and indoctrination, telling us how homosexual books cause AIDS, gays, men's bowel disease, and finally admitting what we all knew: Christian nationalism had affected our community, and he was at the head of his crusade. That launched my campaign to unseat him that year. Robert's sole campaign material being his Christian Nationalist Manifesto of how to get porn out of the library pocket, which he frequently advertised over the coming months, featuring very pornographic material that he so much did not want our library to have, that he was willing to strip all funding, lest anything objectionable to him and Durstein's carriage for book banning cult deemed offensive. Yes, I lost that election, but it didn't stop me, nor was I defeated. I chalked my loss to, the two-party system. I guess that's how you get Christian nationalists with the gay porn obsession elected. But on the other hand, I didn't lose. His fellow tough boys lost that year as well. Again, in the most recent election, the momentum from 2023 brought about a final crushing defeat of Robert, who leaves the seat at the end of this month and added another Democrat seat to the council. With the momentum in 23, I was able to turn my attention to other elections where the Jacobus Durstein hijacking of the Indian Valley, to draw attention to other issues like the racist and violent tweets by a sitting school board director, which caused all four Republicans to lose in that election. I may not have won my individual battles, but I most certainly won the war. I brought enough attention to your BS to get voters out to the polls and say that enough is enough. Now, Robert, you can go off in silence and do whatever it is you do when you're not obsessing over how to ban non-existent pornographic or gay-themed books. Because, yes, less life. Because now you can finally say, as you often do for your committee reports, you have nothing to report. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Will not be possibly followed.
Done, I'll call for adjournment. And we'll be going into executive session. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
I didn't say
I'm recording it on your line. Okay. Is that really necessary?
Yes, it was.
How do you get the tables turned?
Thank you. Have a nice day. Enjoy your holiday.
Exchange the food.
Three.
I think that was. It's not. That's not a big deal. Feel like it's if Ross comes back, yeah. Yeah, there's almost. Yeah.
For those acting.
And she's like, I can't believe this way. I say, Robert, you don't think I'm going to yeah.
I will just pause this to see if they come out of the executive session with any vote.